Section 1, where we're to set out no battles. Gets us the quartz, though. So good in my book. Where to set out. Activating Paper Moon. Initiating Planet Navigational Chart. Plus minus convergence. Commencing Shadow Borders docking sequence into reality boundary. Proper human history resemblance C. Lostbelt depth A. Firing existence verification into tether into reality space anchor point at heroic spirit. Boom. Virtual nautical chart confirmed. Zero sail complete. Emerging into reality space. Are we ever gonna get the weird wow 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 thing? I still like that. That is still pretty cool in my opinion. That is still pretty cool. Reality space anchor secured. Reality verification complete. Establishing Shadow Border's existence within Lostbelt. Zero sail return successful. Yay! Good, we made it back into reality space. Fo-fo! That violent shaking never gets any easier. Are you okay, Master? I'm used to it. I'm impressed, Master. Not many people could adapt to them as quickly as you have. Huh, not so fast. Just take a look how adeptly I'm carrying myself. Why, I'm the very picture of dignity. A zero sail is no worse than a drive in the rain for me. Surely all that railing must have been a dreadful sight more difficult for a freely servant who's never left the lukewarm base of yours, no? I feel quite as powerless as a krill. One already in a whale's stomach, that is. But never mind. So long as I'm at the sea, even the most violent upheaval is a gentle breeze to me. If anyone should be worried about getting seasick, it's you guys. The ship could and should be much more comfortable. In particular, I'd like to add a bit more in the way of padding to my cushions. A good captain must always take care of his crew after all. Had I known how uncomfortable these chairs were, I would prioritize making improvements. Hey, I'm glad we're all working together to keep the border systems in good shape. But I'm not about to let you go tinkering with tiny things like that on your own anytime soon. Even something as small as changing the air freshener we use in the bathroom could lead to fighting amongst the staff. I'm actually being a lot more considerate of everyone on board than you might think, you know. That's good to hear, but this sort of problem that should have been addressed in the planning stages of creating this vessel. You might have the most advanced vessel in the world, but it'll do you a little good if its crew is too low spirits to make use of it. I guess the previous Da Vinci had no idea how difficult a voyage speed could be. Ouch, well, you got me there. The last version of me was a genius, but she was definitely kind of insensitive about things like that. Still, she did make this amazingly capable armored vehicle back when nobody had any idea what was going to happen. I'd say that more than gets me off the hook for any overlooking little things like cushions. Quite so. Next time we build a vehicle, we'll be sure to pay more attention to creature comforts. In the meantime, we have made our way through the storm wall and are now inside the Indian Lostbelt. We should begin by assessing our surroundings. First things first, Mr. Meunier, can you see this Lostbelt's tree of emptiness? Yeah, I think that's it over there. I can see something far off to the southeast. Definitely looks like a tree of emptiness. Most definitely. So it has already taken root, as I suspected, furthermore it appears to have already grown considerably. But unlike in China and Scandinavia, at least we know where to find it. That should save us a good deal of time. Then let's go cut it. Down, right now. Just like that, are all Chinese robots so bold? No, that would be quite too dangerous. This tree is very far away, and I doubt the enemy has simply left it undefended. Oh yes, that reminds me, I'm aware we have yet to define the term for our current circumstances. But there's almost certainly another enemy we'll need to face here. Given what we have seen thus far, there's an excellent chance that there's a cryptor assigned to this Lostbelt, and a king who has been ruling it since prior to the cryptor's arrival. It is therefore in our best interest to gather as much information as we can before we prepare to face them. While this particular tree of emptiness does seem to have grown considerably, it also appears to be in a fairly stable state, so we do not seem to be under immediate pressure. Of course, if things should take a sudden turn for the worse, we will have no choice but to act. But for the time being, it should be safe to prioritize investigating this Lostbelt. Whatever steps we are taking next, we should begin by getting to the bottom of this case. That is, this unknown history. Yes, quite. Very well, we'll start by gathering information. It's important to know exactly what sort of dangers one is up against after all. I see. Understood. For now. Alrighty, let's see if there's anything else of interest around here. What's that?
Weird looking. It would seem there's something else visible to the naked eye here, something a fair distance from the Tree of Emptiness on its own. Fascinating. A big square. Where the hell is that? Is that natural? Man-made? Hurry up and scan it, man.
I'm working on it, come on. It's no use, I can't get a read on it with anything. It's like it's deflecting any attempts to scan it.
I thought it might be some sort of magecraft-based structure, but if it doesn't show up on magical energy scans, perhaps it isn't. It seems all we can do is barely make it out with our eyes. Which would likely mean that, empirically speaking, we can't even be sure it's truly there. I suppose one possible explanation is that we are all just seeing things.
You mean a mass hallucination, as in a vision from space? Or mass mentality? Frightening girl. My head.
Ah, he's having flashbacks to Kama.
Please calm down, Director. I'm sure that was just Holmes trying to make a joke.
At any rate, the only thing we can say for sure at this point is that we have no idea what's going on. Though I do wonder if this may have anything to do with that mysterious girl we saw near Russia's Tree of Emptiness. In that sense, we could also see her despite being unable to observe her with any instruments. Then again, I suppose she did technically appear as a sort of blank spot on our sensors. Regardless, we have still far too much little information to work with, so there is nothing to be gained from drawing conclusions now.
I guess we might be able to get some readings if we got in close. I can't say I'm thrilled about the idea of getting near that thing, but if you want to head over there and try...
Don't be daft. Why would we try to go inside that thing when we don't know the first thing about it? Why, if something were to happen to the border, to me, mankind's last hope would be dashed for good. No, our first order of business is to ensure our surroundings are safe, and then to ensure I'm safe. Isn't that right, technical and administrative advisors?
You're not wrong. Lostbelts do have their own populations, so we know there's got to be a town around here somewhere. I can't tell yet if there's one near that giant cube or anywhere else nearby. But wherever we find one, we shouldn't get too close to it in the border. Remember what happened in China? So for prioritizing information and supplies, I think we should start by looking for a campsite. Luckily, the environment readings are all stable, so we can assume we're safe enough to focus on keeping a low profile. I'd really rather us not use camo function if we can help it, since it's a major resource hog. No, whereas a good out-of-the-way place, we could hide the border and around here. The Rocky Mountain over there looks promising.
A Rocky Mountain.
Alright, we should probably decide on our plan of attack here. Just make sure, how's that device holding up?
The RNX phantasm is quite as a piece of coral. It's not about to wake up anytime soon. I was afraid of this. Even if we get to the coordinates now, I won't be able to do the ritual to activate it as long as this Lostbelt is here.
So we won't be able to use your fancy new device or update the border until we get rid of this Lostbelt, huh? I thought that might be the case, but that doesn't make it any less sucky.
What did you expect? One can hardly hope to win the first prize without taking part in the race. We'll need to get off this Lostbelt sooner or later, so if anything, this only helps simplify the matters.
Indeed. Now, as usual, my duty is to defend the border, seeing as it's the last bastion of hope for mankind and all. Sol and Mash are as you to our field team, you'll be working, well, in the field. Given that this is the fourth Lostbelt you've investigated, you should all yield hands at it by now.
I will do my best, Director. Yes, sir. I'll be sure to stay alert while we're in the field.
Like I said before, the environment here is a lot more stable than it was in Russia and Scandinavia. And it's similar to Chinese climate in a lot of ways, but in addition to physical heat and humidity, there is also a high concentration of man in the air here. That means you'll be able to use the portable stealth devices I gave you in China, just so you're aware. Still, at least we know you won't need to use the Hilarious boards or any other special transport equipment here. So you won't have to worry about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good. Just the sort of enthusiasm I'd like to see. However, one cannot live on enthusiasm alone. Having just two of you out in the field is a risk I would rather not take. So the servants who will accompany you on your investigation shall be...
Sir, I think it's a sensible decision, but I can't accompany them. I was not sent here as a combatant, or to try to fight alongside, so I would just get in his way. My job is to make improvements on this vessel. I may not yet be able to do so, but there's still a lot of foundational work I can begin on now. The first thing I'm going to focus on is improving this bridge's shock absorption. As I said, these cushions have quite a lot to be desired.
Hey, I wasn't planning to get them when I had time, you know?
Of course, I will accompany them. I have some connection to India, as well. I'm sure I can be useful.
Right, India is historically close with China, where they called it Tianzhu. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Thank you, Nessa. I'm very sure knowing you'll be able to help us.
Nonetheless, Nessa alone simply won't be enough. Da Vinci needs to remain here on standby so that she can operate at the border at the moment's notice if necessary. and Holmes needs to stay so that he can make full use of the Border's instruments while he analyzes our findings. Suffice to say, Sol, that you will need to bolster your fighting force if you are to carry out your investigation. To do so, you'll have to try summoning new servants in the field. It's a shame that Atlas Institute servant was more accommodating, but there's nothing we can do about that.
I see Gordy's in a real mood now that he has another servant staying behind you can keep him safe. I agree, you'll need to start by summoning new servants, but as they say, every cloud has a silver lining. And this particular summoning has 2 of them. First off, electricity. Thanks to Sion, we have another disposable booster you can use, like you did in China. She said it's called Void Cell. I gotta say, the Atlas Institute comes up with some really interesting stuff sometimes. As a refresher, just hook it up to Mash's shield and it'll provide all the resources you need for the summon. Unfortunately, thanks to all the time it took to make everything, it's only got enough juice for 2 servants. But hey, it's still way better than flying by a kite in a storm, right? Second, I already found a perfect ley line for summoning, and it's well within walking distance.
I concur. Once you have bolstered your forces there, you can begin investigating our surroundings in earnest.
Understood, we'll make sure to do that.
No time like the present, let's go!
Fo-fo! You're sure you're okay with this, Gordy?
What do you mean?
Oh, you know, I just figured you want to say, hold it. I'm the director and I give the orders around here, or something like that.
Oh. Well, I will admit I did come up with a few authoritative directives ahead of time, but I ultimately decided they weren't necessary given how this Lostbelt seems fairly peaceful. And if there's no point in saying them, well, why waste my breath? It's only good sense.
Of course, there's a point to them. They're very important. Go on, Gordy, hurry up and save something.
Oh, well, if you insist and it's not too late. Hold it, you're forgetting something pivotal.
And that is...
Your commander's orders, of course. We can't start an operation without them. Go on now, line up, back straight, never mind the salute, just listen up. Sol, as the captain of the Shadow Border and the director of Chaldea, here are your orders. You are to investigate this Lostbelt spreading across the Indian land and find the means of felling that tree of emptiness as soon as possible. In addition to eliminating this Lostbelt and protecting Earth from this invasion, you are also to secure a pathway that will enable us to further modify and evolve the Shadow Border. Sir, yes, sir!
That's more like it when a mission's especially difficult. That's when we need to send them off with the high hopes. We're really coming into our own as a team. I think we can give the old Chaldea run for its money.
Romani! Da Vinci! Why? Lostbelt number 4. Lostbelt depth A. 11,900. Samsara of Genesis and Terminus Yugakshetra. The final Dark God. And that is part 1. So pause for a moment. Okay, that's the cut.